All right. Hello, everybody. Ho, ho, ho. Merry everyone. Happy holidays and welcome to a Christmas Eve edition of Patriots First and Goal. I am Alex Shane breaking down Patriots Bills, the game that almost was, but wasn't, as usual, and all things football as we close out the 2025 season. Rich Hill, happy holidays. How are you? Where does this podcast find yourself as we do our holiday travel this year?
Honestly, pretty good. Pretty good.
Right.
I mean, it was a good week of games. It was not the result that we wanted to from the Patriots Bills. Not surprising by the loss, but the journey in which it took us to get there. I don't know, man. This is the kind of game that I look at and I go, if we had a season full of these, I'd be pretty happy with that.
100%. Again, like they lost in classic Patriots fashion. I think we'll talk about on First and Goal. But yeah, I mean, look, if you're to tell me in September that the Patriots go to Buffalo and lose by 3 points, I'll take that all day. And Drake May outplayed Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Hell yes. I will.
The defense looked good.
Defense looked good. There's a couple classic Patriots moves that cost them the game. So let's talk about those classic Patriots moves, Rich. First and Goal, Patriots Bills. I don't know about you, but if there's a single play that encapsulates the entire season, it's this. It is an offensive lineman completely misses his block and falls over. Drake May doesn't really read the defense barreling down on the screenplay. He passes it backwards. Ramondre Stevenson drops it or doesn't catch it or fumbles it, whatever you want to call it. And before the Patriots even know what's going on, there are 4 defenders in the end zone falling on the ball, which is basically the end of being the game. That play is kind of the game changer for me. But overall, like I think this is a pretty good performance. Just a couple of stupid penalties, some dumb turnovers, the usual stuff. I mean, you can't start a second half with, what is it, fumble, interception, fumble, touchdown with the first 2 possessions. And that was kind of all she wrote. But again, the fact they were even in it that late, and it wasn't like 40-14 after those 3 turnovers, that speaks a lot.
Yeah, totally. I mean, the first half, perfect game of football by the team. Obviously, 1 breakdown on the James Cook touchdown, but perfect first half. They played the right pace. You know, that first quarter was just 2 possessions, or technically 3, but like it was the perfect way that you beat the Bills team. This is exactly what they did in that game against the Bengals back in week 1, where we said, hey, if the Patriots pull this off every single week, this team can do something. This is what we're expecting, a really good defensive performance with, hey, if our offense can be mediocre, that's great. That's way better than where it was last year. And as you said, I mean, if they didn't start the second half fumble, interception, fumble, this is a completely different game. They would have been way more competitive. There was a 17-point swing through some of these turnovers, whether it's, taking away that touchdown from a red zone interception to having that fumble that the Bills returned for a score and just another turnover where the Bills didn't have to gain any yardage. They started in field goal range. So you can't really penalize the defense on that one. 17-point swing right there. This is a completely different story if the Patriots were able to protect the football.
How do you feel about the coaching staff for Chill in this game? Because on one hand, you see some really gutsy plays. There's a fake punt on 4th inside your own 22-yard line. Some really sharp play calling. I love the motion. Pop Douglas all over the field. Strong running game to the play action up. Drake May got off the leash a little bit. Love all of that. But you also have them punting on like 4th and 1 from your own 46. You got them punting on 4th and 5 with like 8 minutes to play. And then they had 1st and goal from the 8-yard line with like 2:30 left, so 2-minute warning, all 3 timeouts. It took them like 9. I think it took them exactly 9 plays to get in the end zone from the 8. Ate up a minute plus a clock, and that pretty much cost them the chance to do not an onside kick and maybe kick it off and stop them and go for a chance. So how do you feel the coaching staff overall, the kind of game they called?
Yeah, I mean, I think they put the offense in a position to do better than in the past. And by that, I mean they let them open up a bit. Remember last game where Drake May's average depth of pass was like negative yards in the first half. It was just somewhere they weren't even trying to do anything deep down the field. This time, they were trying to do a little bit more. Obviously, it wasn't perfect every single time, but they were throwing the ball a little bit deeper. They're completing it a little bit deeper. It's one where they were making it happen too, right? Keyshawn Boutte made those catches that we've seen them not make in recent weeks. And that's the difference with a lot of the narrative is that, if in the past, Keyshawn Boutte made some of those catches, he wasn't going 0 for 4 kind of a thing. If he was catching them, maybe we'd look at those previous weeks and be like, oh, well, they took some shots. But in those previous weeks, they weren't doing it. They weren't connecting. And so they stopped calling it. Here, It was working. So they kept going back to it. And so it was nice to see them lean into that a little bit. It was nice to see Drake May be mobile, as you said. But the story of the game was this defense's performance. This was without a doubt the best defensive performance outside of the Bears game in recent memory. It was honestly, even with the Bears being a terrible team, I'd say this was one of the most impressive defensive performances the Patriots have had all year.
It was a good game plan. They kept it. I think Josh Allen had about 30 yards rushing. I don't think there's any play where, if there was a play where Josh Allen did Josh Allen things and kept the play going, and it was like a huge critical third down and he scrambled around and broke 3 tackles and hit some guy, I don't remember it. I don't think that was really the case. He was a pedestrian quarterback against a very bad team, and he targeted Christian Gonzalez, I think, 1 time for 0 yards. If Christian Gonzalez is on one side, he's so good. I mean, Allen is one of the top quarterbacks in the league. Not only is he talented, he's very smart. He's got a very high football IQ. And he just decided, I'm not going to throw where Gonzo is. And that is such an amazing, that's probably my best takeaway of the game, is that like the fact that one of the league's top talents decided just not even to bother testing this guy. That was a really huge thing. Again, the defense wasn't like out of this world amazing, but they did exactly what they had to do. And there was that, like you said, like that one blown blocking scheme that sprung Cook for the 46 yards. And that was kind of, and then that was basically it. You held the Bills to 17 points. One of which started in field goal range, so kind of 14 points. There were 2 drives, one of which was a big blown blocking assignment. And this is a Bills team that scored 30 points every single game since like that Jets game in October.
Yep.
So you got to be happy with that. This is a game the Patriots could have won, although I'm kind of glad they didn't because they've now jumped up in the draft order. They now picked 2nd overall. So it was kind of a win-win. I don't know, like this is exactly the kind of loss I wanted to see.
Exactly. I feel great about this. You know, it's frustrating when they get this close and then they lose to a team like the Colts, and you're like, come on, beat the Colts at least. At least give me a win there. I got to feel a great Bills team like this. This is fine. This is progress. If the Patriots showed up like this, as they did against the Bills, if they showed up like this every other week this year, we are looking at a 500 team. They've had a very brutal schedule overall. This is a very hard schedule. But if they showed up like this every other week this year with Drake May under center, you know, if they protected the football 1 extra time per game, this is a playoff team, right? This is how close this team is if they show up like this. The problem is that they've never done this with any level of consistency. If they come out next week against the Chargers and look like this, they could very well beat the Chargers. That's just a very real possibility of it. They have their final 2 weeks of the season at home. They get a rematch against the Bills in 2 weeks. Alec, I don't know. I feel great about this after this game.
100%. And they could easily go 2-0 the last week's season. The Bills are not going to have a damn thing to play for in week 18. Nope. Everyone's going to be sitting. They're at Foxboro. And I know people are maybe talking about draft pick, but again, with that 2nd overall pick, fine, but they don't need a quarterback. They can get a top-tier talent at pick 5 or 6. So I'm not worried about the draft stock sliding a couple of picks. And if they can end the year with some positive momentum, we've both said it, Gerard Mayo is coming back next year, whether you like it or not. Maybe his hot seat will only be warm next year when he comes in, if he can kind of finish on a positive note. And it's just what you want to see. I would like to see Javon Baker get a catch or Jalen Pope get a catch, but that's okay. Again, I like Booty. I like Douglas. Yeah. I think Hunter Henry's a good tight end. I like what they've done with Austin Hooper over the past couple of weeks. The offensive line has been okay, which is better than I can say for a lot of things. Not like the offensive line cost them the entire game with ridiculous penalties. It was just like a decent overall, a good loss. It's just a good loss. That's really all there is to it. And in a game that no one saw them beating the Bills in, they held them to 3 points. I will take that all day. And I'm psyched for the Chargers game. Never thought I'd say that, but I'm actually excited to see what happens next week.
Yeah, I'm excited too. I got nothing else really to say about this Patriots and Bills game. Happy about where it ended up. Obviously not going to say it changes the course of the season with how it turned out. But hey, if they string together 3 more of these to close the year, maybe I'll have a lot more hope for what next year can look like.
We will. Here's hoping. And yeah, let's get on with it. Again, good loss. Congratulations to the Patriots for a loss. It's weird to say, but this is exactly what I wanted to see all season. But it's not quite over yet, Rich Hill. There are 2 more games. They are home against the Chargers next week. Although NFL Week 17 kicks off early this year. Tomorrow, Christmas Day, we've got a couple of games. So let's break down Week 17 in the NFL on Patriots First and Goal. Second and Goal, as always, brought to you by Prize Picks. the best place on the internet to get real money sports action with over 10 million members and billions of dollars in award winnings. Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all because you just pick more or less than at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. So run your game all season long on Prize Picks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app. Christmas is a big sports day. If you're an NFL guy, you got games, big NBA games on Christmas Day. And if you're an NBA guy on Christmas Day, Nikola Jokic only needs 1x point for you to win 1x square, which is pretty huge. And this week is 7 days of Pixmas, where Prize Picks is giving you a shot at $1 million along with daily rewards for just playing. We got Pittsburgh versus Kansas City on Christmas Day. Will Pat Mahomes throw for more than 250? Will Travis Kelce have more than 5 catches? We have Texans-Ravens on Christmas Day. Will Lamar Jackson throw for more than 215? Will C.J. Stroud throw for more than 2 touchdowns? You can make your more or less picks with Prize Picks and check Prize Picks for your up-to-date player projections. All you have to do to get your good bets in is go to Prize Picks and just download the app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, download the app and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. All right, Rachel, I talked about that in the Prize Picks promo. Chiefs, Steelers, very good game coming up. Ravens, Texans, sneaky good game coming up on Christmas Day for those of us who will be able to sneak away from our families, friends, and obligations to watch TV instead. I am not one of those people, unfortunately, but for those of you who have their privilege, good for you. What games are you most stoked about this week, Rich?
Yeah, I mean, this is another really good slate. I mean, kudos to the scheduling folks at the NFL. Great way to close the season. Last week had a good stretch. This week you have the Broncos at the Bengals, 2 teams that are just fighting for their lives right now. Joe Burrow is having one of the best years ever by a quarterback, and his team is below 500 because there's nothing else around him. It's a Herculean effort against rookie Bo Nix. I'm very excited for that one. You have a few more interesting games in the later time of the week. You have the Falcons at the Commanders. I don't know if you saw the Commanders upset the Eagles this past week, but also the Falcons with their win. They are #1 in the NFC South. Michael Penix has taken over from Kirk Cousins. That is another interesting game. What's going to happen there? A couple of young quarterbacks leading their teams into the postseason, perhaps. The Monday night game could have been really exciting. You have the Lions on the road against the 49ers, but the game of the week for me, Jordan Love and the Packers on the road against the 13-2 Vikings. The Vikings are great. They are truly a great team with Sam Darnold. I'm very excited to see what the future holds for them. But this Packers team just continues to find ways to compete. They are a sneaky team to make a lot of noise in the NFC. I think teams are also kind of underselling the Vikings somehow. We talked about this on our last podcast. They are the most underrated top contender in the entire league right now. They have Brian Flores leading one of the best defenses in the entire league. They have a very balanced offense. I'm excited about that game.
Yeah, I mean, they're fun to watch too. It's like there's interesting dynamics, cool narratives, cool storylines. Yeah, a lot of really good games this week. Probably the 2 most important games from a non-Patriots perspective coming up are the Colts at the Giants on the 29th. Obviously, the Giants currently have that #1 pick. They're only 1 win ahead of the Patriots, so maybe the Giants can upset the Colts here in a pretty meaningless game otherwise for them. And also a game I am rooting very hard for a tie between the Titans and the Jaguars, because those are 2 3-13 teams as well, 3-12 teams as well, excuse me. And so obviously that's going to have implications on whether or not the Patriots remain at the #2 spot or if they don't. But that also implies the Patriots are going to lose, which they very well may not on the Chargers. So let's break down this Chargers game, Rich. 3rd and goal. Let's get right to it. Patriots offense looks pretty good against the Bills. Patriots defense looked pretty good against the Bills. Patriots Chargers, I feel like every year is just one of those games where for whatever reason, the Chargers just don't beat the Patriots. I don't know why it is. It's Phillip Rivers. It's Justin Herbert. Whoever it is. I think Cam Newton. I think the Cam Newton Patriots was like 45-0. I remember the Patriots just destroyed the Chargers. It's one of those games the Patriots just seem to win every single year. Let's start with the offense. Patriots on 3rd and goal. Patriots offense versus Chargers defense. Do you like this matchup? And if so, what do you like about it?
No, I like nothing about this matchup. Alec, there's the #1 defense in the league in the Chargers here. They are not going to be a good time for the Patriots, who are one of the worst offenses in the entire league. This is a true strength of the league here with the Chargers and the true just depths of the bottom with the Patriots offense. This is not going to be a good time. But I will say what we saw with Drake May against the Buffalo Bills, if he is able to reduce his turnovers against this Chargers team that loves to force turnovers, if he can protect the football, maybe he can get stuff done. This is a team where if they can get to 25 points, they might be able to pull it off. Obviously, that's been a big barrier for the Patriots because they keep turning the ball over. But you look up and down this Chargers defense, they are stacked. They are a very, very good team. It is not going to be a good matchup at the secondary level. It's not a good matchup up front. The linebackers are able to do it all. They're able to, tackles for losses, passes defended. They're all over the place. They are a very good, sound defense that there's not a very clear weak spot for the Patriots to be able to capitalize on. Maybe they could get something going on the ground running wise. If there is a weakness, it's the interior of this defense, but it's not something that I think the Patriots have the strength to match up on. And so I'm not going to challenge Derwin James. Hunter Henry is going to be just completely gone from the Patriots offense this entire game. So if the Patriots are going to pull this off, they're going to need Booty to have another really big day for them.
So you think if you're going to make emphasis on one element of the attack, it's going to be more in the passing game than the running game, even though if there's a weakness in the Chargers defense, it's via stopping the run in the middle.
Yeah, because I just don't think that the Patriots have the size or the ability to pull it off. I think that there's still enough good players in this Chargers defensive front to be able to stop them. They have some very good mobile just vacuums up front. Denzel Perryman, Diane Henley, they have really good players that are able to just collapse the middle of it. And they're going to do that. I think they have Puna Ford up in the middle. They have some good space eaters up front. It's a situation where if we had a classic Patriots Skarnecchia offensive line, I'd say they could probably run for $150. I don't trust this Patriots offensive line to do it. It's one where I think if there's a place you can challenge them, it might be towards the outside. That's not to say that they're going to do it very successfully or easily or anything like that. But if there's a way to break through against this Chargers team, it's by connecting on those 25-plus yard passes to Booty that the Patriots have been able to do, that they've been able to find a way to do. And if they can do that with some level of consistency, if they can have 3 or 4 of them, perhaps they flip the field, they could have a real shot.
Would you trust the amount of seconds it needs for a 25-yard play to develop with this Patriots offensive line against the Chargers pass rush?
No, absolutely not. No. I don't trust that to happen. But Drake May will have to find a way like he has been doing in recent weeks.
Yeah, that's the problem. I think it's really all about Drake May. I mean, I want to make him my X factor because he's always the X factor, but it's kind of thing where he's going to need to extend plays with his legs. Maybe not rush so much, but no, I'm thinking back to that the end of the Titans game where he just kind of sat there in the pocket and evaded about 4 tackles and hit, I think it was Ramondre Stevenson, and sent it to overtime. Something like that. That really needs to happen. He's got to find a way to move the pocket, buy himself some time. I don't know how much freedom he's been given to call audibles at the line and alter the protections. I feel like not as much as maybe he should. He's a pretty smart kid. I feel like he basically had a full season under his belt. Maybe this is a great game to see what he's able to do in terms of adjusting the coverage packages, what he sees pre-snap. Because, yeah, I'm looking at hat on a hat. This Patriots offensive line versus the Chargers front 4, front 7, whatever, they're just overmatched at pretty much every position. So I don't know how they're going to get through it. What I'm worried about as well is, I don't know if it was this game or the last game before, but remember the Patriots did a lot of quick plays and nothing happened, just a lot of screens for 1 yard. They didn't allow it to develop at all. I'm worried they're going to start off doing something like that, build themselves into a hole again. And the way the Chargers play, the Patriots aren't built to come back from a lead deficit regardless. But if the Chargers can get up 10 points, I just don't see a scenario where the Patriots can match up for kind of the pass rush, being able to tee off playing behind.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, we can talk more about the Chargers offense on the next down of how can the Patriots possibly keep up. But I agree. It's one where the Patriots have to try to play their own game. I don't think they really have one at this point, but they have to try and find a way for Drake May to get opportunities. And they're going to have to dig deep into their playbook to be able to pull it off, right? There's nothing that they're holding on for at this point in the year. If anything, they're just putting tape together so other teams have more to think about next year. So why not go for it? Why not pull some of the tricks out of the bag? You don't have to do anything that can endanger a player or something like that. And that was one of Alex Van Pelt's reason for not using Drake May in the running game so much. There's a lot of ways that you can creatively get players open. Every other team does it. Just find a way just to, not just say, okay, we don't have a strong offensive line. Quick dump, manufacture it, use motion, use it a lot more. As you mentioned with Demario Douglas, they've been leaning on it a little bit more. That's the modern way you play football. They need to use motion a lot more to just give the offense a little bit of a break, a little bit of an advantage, a little bit of separation. And if they can do that, a second is all they need in order to make a play.
I think this could be a good Austin Hooper game. He's my X factor in this one. I think you're right. I think Henry's going to be a non-factor. He's been pretty much the engine of the offense, receiving wise.
Yep.
He's the only real steady presence offensively for the Patriots. Unfortunately, for those of you in the fantasy championships this year who've been riding Hunter Henry, it might be time to find a new tight end. But this could be a good Austin Hooper kind of move tight end game. If Drake May is able to diagnose where the blitzes are coming from and get Hooper into the kind of out route and the slants, the flats, the wheel routes, those things, maybe the wham blocks that tight ends are known for, could be a really good Austin Hooper game. But yeah, I think it's going to need to be a lot of reach into the bag of tricks and hope for the best. And maybe, is it me, Rich Hill, or have like every bounce just not gone the Patriots' way this season? So maybe this is the game where the football gods are like, all right, you know what? You've been screwed for 16 straight weeks. You're going to get a couple of bounces this week, because that's, I really feel like their best chance offensively.
Yeah, totally. I mean, like that is what they're going to need to get. Because obviously we don't trust the offense to do anything, although that may be a misplaced perception, right? Like if they, again, don't turn the ball over, massive if, because they've turned the ball over multiple times in like 4 of the past 6-7 games. Like they are very loose with the football. If they're able to protect it, this is an above average offense. And that is a wild thing to say, but that's how devastating some of these turnovers have been. We were talking about this during the game itself. Like, how many times have the Patriots turned the ball over when they've been in scoring position? A lot. If they just finished those drives, maybe we'd be looking at a middle of the road offense from a scoring perspective. If they just protect the football, maybe they wouldn't put the defense in such a bad position. If they protect the football, this is a team that could take the next step. Obviously, we're not expecting it right now. It takes time. We saw this with Josh Allen for the first 3 years of his career. And I think Drake May is more polished now than Allen was in his first 2 years in the NFL. And so it will come with time. I think he's learning. He's getting some good live reps that are, legitimately showing promise. And this is just going to be another great test against the number 1 defense in the league.
And look, man, at the end of the day, we've gone from first down, loss of 3 yards. Second down, incompletion. Third down, sack for a loss of 10 yards, punt in 2023. To drive down the field, turnover in the red zone. Progress. And like, I'm not asking for touchdowns. It's like field goals would be good. But every step, little steps, baby steps. Yep. Let's move on, Rich. 4th and goal. Let's talk about the Patriots defense versus the Chargers offense. I feel like if the Patriots are going to make a game of it, they're going to have to keep it close defensively by limiting Justin Herbert and company. They were able to do it against the Buffalo Bills on the road in pretty lousy conditions. I don't know exactly what we're like on Sunday in Foxboro, but the Chargers are a warm weather team. They need this game way more than the Patriots do, obviously, to stay alive in the playoff chase. What is your biggest threat if you're DeMarcus Covington, and how are you going to try and neutralize it?
Ladd McConkey. That is
the Patriots should have drafted.
Unreal. This is the Ladd McConkey revenge game. Patriots had the opportunity to draft him. They traded down instead to get Jalen Polk and Javon Baker, a 2-for-1 that is looking just worse and worse by the day. McConkey is their leading receiver right now, 960 yards and 5 scores, one of the best rookie receivers in the entire league. Woof. And it's going to be one where he comes out of the slot a lot. They have Josh Palmer as the Z, Quentin Johnston at the X. So it's not a situation where you would expect Covington to say, Gonzo, you cover their number 1. Christian Gonzalez is probably going to get matched up against Quentin Johnston. Alex Austin is probably going to get Josh Palmer. And then whichever of the Joneses is available to go will probably get McConkey. And they're going to need safety help because it's not going to be easy. McConkey is very, very good. He is just very able to generate space. He connects very well with Herbert. He has almost 100 targets on the year. And then you add in Will Dissly, who's a viable receiving tight end, averaging about like 40 yards a game through the air, which makes him something that you have to pay attention to. J.K. Dobbins is a very good running back out of the backfield. This is a balanced offense. This is a balanced offense where it isn't as simple as say, remove this one player and there goes 50% of the offense. They'll find ways to get additional yards. Gonzalez can't take it away. I think Austin Beck does help this Patriots team. I think that he was an underrated part of their secondary down the stretch last year, and he's already shown that he's able to play pretty well this year. I think that the real question, the X factor, is how are the Patriots going to cover McConkey? Because you can't just let him sit in zone or he's going to eat you alive.
Yeah, I do not want to see a lot of zone in this game. I think it's going to be a very important game for the safeties. I don't know if I can have an entire positional grouping as my X factor, but Mapu had pretty much a breakout game against the Bills.
Yep.
But Kyle Duggar looked better, way better against the Bills. Get some pass breakups, some good tackles. I think this is going to be a really important game for rotational safeties. Disguise a lot of looks, maybe cheat up into the box, drop out in the coverage. Don't allow the middle of the field to open up. This would have been a great game for like a Patrick Chung kind of player, like Adrian Claiborne kind of guy. They don't really have that. They're supposed to have it in Duggar, but he's not as reliable. But the safeties have to really show up big here to keep everything in front of them. So I can see them just chip away with 3 yards, 4 yards on the run game, and then a little couple of outs, and all of a sudden, boom, somebody's gone. McConkey goes off for like 12 catches for $150 and a touchdown. I can definitely see that happening. There's one thing that Patriots are not really good at, as we've seen this past season, for some reason, is adjusting. If someone's kind of eating them alive with one particular player, they just can't seem to calibrate for it. So hopefully they can kind of confuse the Chargers early enough so they don't kind of set into their money play strategy where it's going to keep going into the same well over and over again and biting the Patriots in the butt with that. So I can definitely see that happening. So I need a big day from the safeties on Sunday.
Yep, I agree. It's going to be a hard one, right? This is not your high-flying Chargers offense that we're kind of used to. Herbert's having a fine year. He protects the football, doesn't turn it over, but he's not playing world-beating offense at this point in time because they've been dealing with so many injuries, right? This is a banged-up Chargers offense too. McConkey wasn't supposed to be their top receiver this year by any means. And so it's a situation where I think they're technically a bottom 10, bottom 12 offense at this point in time. And they're not a monstrosity. The Patriots can do it. They can hang with them. This is a team that if they come out the exact same way that they did against the Bills and try and defend Herbert, I don't see why they can't slow him down. If they can hold them to below 20 points, which is, outside of the Broncos game, they scored 17 points against the Falcons, 17 against the Chiefs, 17 against the Bucks. Why can't the Patriots do that? And so that's why if the Patriots are able to put up 25 plus points, I think they have a real shot of winning this.
They do. The Patriots have a real shot of winning this, which means we should get to predictions, Rich Hill. Let's do this. As always, our predictions are brought to you by Game Time, the best place to get tickets not only to the NFL, but the NBA, sports, concerts, comedy, theater, you name it. Game Time has it. And with Game Time Picks, a new feature, it makes getting tickets for live events even easier because Game Time Picks filters out all the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats. You don't have to waste time purchasing thousands of tickets and getting lousy seats anyway. All-in pricing, you toggle that feature, you show total up front with no surprise fees at checkout. And with seat views, you get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy. Plus, the lowest price guarantee means Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Game Time ticket coverage means your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. You only have 2 chances to go see the Patriots play this season, and you can get your tickets for them on Game Time. Again, want to go to an NBA game on Christmas Day, some New Year's Eve games coming up, go to Game Time. You won't regret it. So just download the app, the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and you use the code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game Time. And it is prediction time, Rich Hill. Let me go to the old notebook. We both had the Bills winning, so that's not – you had the Bills winning 38-24. Oh, I had the Bills blowout. I had the Bills 42-17 beating the Patriots. So you are much closer than I was, so I will give you the nod for this one. That means you have the hammer for Patriots Chargers. I'm very curious what you're going to say on this one, Rich Hill, because this is always a tricky matchup. Like I said, the Patriots always beat the Chargers. Yep. The Patriots stink, and the Chargers are good, and the Chargers need this game and more than the Pats do. So what are you thinking for this one?
Yeah, I mean, it's a hard one. I think that the Patriots offense has a really tough matchup here with the Chargers. I think that the Patriots defense could give the Chargers offense a little bit of a fit. So for me, it comes down to, do I think that Drake May and the offense can protect the football? My thought is if the Patriots win the turnover margin by 2 or more, they win this one. If they win it by only 1, It's going to come down to the wire. If they lose it, they have no shot. I think that with how the Patriots are loose with the football and how the Chargers protect the football, that the Chargers are going to win the turnover margin, and that's therefore the entire game. I think that the Chargers find a way to win this one, something like 27-21. It will feel pretty close. I think we'll leave the game feeling pretty good about it. And another one of those, if they just protected the football, they could have pulled it off, which I'll take. I'm fine with that at this point in time. For them to actually follow through on it, that could be a next year problem. But I think that's where we'll leave this game, is feeling pretty good about it with a competitive loss against the Chargers, 27-21.
All right. So Chargers up 27-21. Drake May gets the ball with like a minute and a half and 2 timeouts left, throws the pick to seal it, basically.
Yep.
What we've seen before. That's kind of how Patriots lose games this year. All right. I'm going to make it easy. I'm taking the Patriots in this game. I'm betting more on history than anything else. I have this weird feeling the Patriots are going to win out the rest of the year. They're going to build on momentum, beat the Chargers on Sunday, and then again, the Bills are going to be playing their scrubs next week, and they're not going to have a hard time handling the Bills. I think this is one of those games where the Chargers need it, and the Chargers are not really a team that I think steps up in the must-win situations. They haven't for a very long time, and I don't. And this is again, I don't think I must. They're not like eliminated from a contention with a loss here, but they really need to win this game to keep up in the playoff push. The Chiefs have already clinched they're probably going to clinch the 1 seed on Wednesday, honestly. But the Chiefs have already clinched the division. The Chargers have to stay in the wild card race, a very heated wild card race, which means they're going to crap the bed, and the Patriots are going to win this game. Something really low scoring. I think the defense keeps them in it, but the offense can't quite punch it in. I'm going to go with the Patriots win this game like 17-13.
Oof. All right. Well, we'll see the end of it. I hope that the Patriots win, right? I mean, as you said, draft pick doesn't matter.
Nope.
Well, also, maybe I'll be singing a different tune if somehow the Giants pull off a win against the Colts, and I'll be like, Patriots should lose out. They could get the number 1 pick, which would honestly, I don't know, that'd be an exciting narrative for the finale if they're able to be in position for that first overall pick. I don't know, Alec. We'll see. I would love to have just a productive game from the Patriots offense. I would love to see Booty have just another really strong outing. I would love for them to find a way for both Booty and Douglas to be productive in the same game. I would love for that to happen. I think that there's a lot of little things that they can keep working on, even with this really good Chargers defense coming, that I don't need a win or a loss to make this game feel like a success. What we do need to see is a little bit of progress. We had some of it last week against the Bills. We'll have to have more of it against the Chargers. Hopefully we'll come back next week and be talking about it.
Me too. I want 1 300-yard day from Drake May, and maybe this is the one. He has 2 more shots for 300-yard day as a passer, as a rookie. This might be his best shot. So again, I think next week after the Bills game is going to be kind of a non-factor for a lot of reasons. So let's go. Drake May, 300 yards passing this week.
All right. Well, Alec, that's all I got on week 17 of the NFL season. Can't believe the season's already coming, almost gone. Until next time, Alec, you have a good one.
You too, buddy. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Later, man.